Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MKB Leadership Show. I'm your host, Katrina Birus, and this show is done in conjunction with Dukascopy TV. Today I'm delighted to interview Isabelle Maes. She is Senior Manager of ICF and of the Regional Service Center of Europe, Africa, and Middle East. Isabelle, welcome.
Thank you, Katrina.
So tell us about the mission of the International Coach Federation.
Well, ICF exists to lead the global advancement of the coaching profession. So not only we fulfill this with our strategic goals, but we also have our core values, which are excellence, integrity, collaboration, and respect. So maybe I can invite your viewers to go on the website coachfederation.org and have a look at this detailed information.
So coachfederation.org.
Yes.
Excellent. And tell us what brought you to this work in ICF, to this job, this career that you have in IGF?
Well, actually, I arrived at the ICF completely by chance. I was having another job in Brussels for a big marketing and sport management company, and one day a job description arrived on my desk, and we were supposed to help our colleagues in the States finding someone to run a new office, and it appeared that the job description was exactly me. So I had a conversation with my boss and asked him if I could apply for the job. I did, and I was chosen.
Yes, and tell us a little bit about how many people are members of the International Coach Federation and how many chapter leaders?
Well, we have around 26,000 members.
Wow.
And we are spread in more than 120 countries. Now, to get back to my region, which is EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Africa, I'm in charge, together with my colleague in Moscow, for about 36 chapters, but it still increases as we keep on creating new chapters.
And tell us, these are all mostly volunteers that you have to manage. How do you motivate volunteers?
Well, ICF is structured as such that among the 26,000 members, we also have what we call the chapters, and chapters are the national representation of the ICF. So each country pretty much has got a chapter, which is formed by volunteers, having some kind of a same structure as our global organization, having a board, a president, and so yes, they are all volunteers. They're not paid for what they do. They just do it because they have their passion for their profession. So I think that for us, it's very important to serve them the best we can and to be contagious with our enthusiasm, our positivity and our creativity.
So that is one of your key competencies in the success of your career?
Yes, we can say that, yes, absolutely.
Okay, and so what do volunteers get from being volunteers?
Well, I think that many volunteers get a lot. First of all, being a volunteer within the ICF gives you a lot of credibility as an ICF member. But I think, Katrina, I mean, you are a volunteer yourself. I mean, you've been speaking for me various times for webinars and last week in Barcelona. So maybe you can tell me a little bit more about what you get as a volunteer.
Absolutely. I believe in the mission of the ICF. There's a lot of people that call themselves coaches that have not done any training, that have not done any rigorous exams to make sure that they have the level. So I think ICF is really a guarantor of that at least people have done what it needs to take to be a good coach over time. So yes, I must say, if I can help ICF and the coaching members professionalize, I am definitely a volunteer.
Wonderful, Katrina, and I think as a master coach, you're definitely a model as well for the profession, and we cannot say enough how important it is for any company or any individual that thinks about hiring a coach or implementing a coaching structure or whatever in his company to make sure to get the best coach you can. So check on the training, check on the experience, and check on the credentialing, because being credentialed by the ICF means that not only you have a set of competence, but you also have a lot of experience. You've gone through a very severe process. You've been examined by assessors. So it's a very, very tough process, which is the same for every coaches in the world. So once you are an ICF credentialed coach, you can say that you're really among the cream of the cream.
And every 3 years you got to renew your certification.
Absolutely. So the credentialing is awarded for 3 years. So it means that you have to prove ICF and yourself that you keep on educating yourself. So you need to collect coach continuing education units, as we call them, to prove us that you keep on educating yourself, following trainings, to really remain, with the trends of your profession. That's very important.
So what's one of the most difficult elements or challenges that you've had in your career at ICF?
Well, you know, the career as a senior manager is very diverse. I mean, every day is different, and every day brings us a lot of surprise. I would say that we are facing sometimes difficult times, and you know, I mean, working with volunteers also brings some risks, like, you know, you can have a president that's got some health issue, whatever. We happen to have to close chapters because nobody was willing to stand up. But the good news is that most of the time we always find solutions. And I actually discover myself a lot of mediation skills during my time at ICF now, yes, definitely.
Yes, and the presidents change every year or 2 years, so succession is very important. How do you deal with that?
Well, absolutely. Or presidents are, depending from one chapter to the other, they have a 1 year or 2 years term. It's difficult to ask more from volunteers, so it's very important to have succession plan in place. So we are also investing in our leaders. Since last year, we also have decided that actually also the global organization would finance some training. So we bring all the chapter presidents worldwide all together to have a 3 days complete training, which we call the Global Leadership Forum. And this is very important because it really helps connect directly from the very beginning of their term and to give them all the skills and tools they need to be the best possible leaders. And you know, also having people like me and my colleague Ala in Moscow enables them to rely on the experience, the expertise, the knowledge of the last 8 years to not reinvent the wheels. So we are very in co-creation with them all the time.
So you're the holder of the association's culture and know-how, it sounds like.
Oh, holder is maybe a big word. I think we definitely are very proud to be able to be part of this ICF community. For me, it's really a pleasure to work for volunteers. It's completely changed my view of the business, and actually it's also boosting me every day to be better and to serve better.
Wonderful. You just had the 20th anniversary of ICF.
Yes, 2015, 20th anniversary of the organization, and this brilliant, absolutely very first time or the ICF on tour. This initiative we launched in EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Africa, and funny enough, we thought, okay, let's try and do something different. We know that all chapters can do great events all separately. What would it be if we can, you know, co-create all together? So not just me and my colleague with chapter leader, but all the chapter leaders together. So we ended up with a beautiful ICF on Tour initiative, which you can still follow on Facebook on ICF on Tour EMEA. And we had like 31 countries and 36 events in less than 2 months. So it's been a huge success.
That's impressive. And so you go from one country to one country like a road show. Yes. And give presentations.
Absolutely, with many volunteer speakers of you, Katrina, but we had more than 100 volunteering speakers, all of them PCCs and MCC coaches, so wonderful events. Started in Brussels on the 21st of September, and we will end on the 26th of November in Madrid with our 2 international keynote speakers, Jean-François Noubel and Caitlin Walker. So wonderful time, really.
So thank you, Isabelle. very much for sharing your knowledge and your time on this show.
It was a pleasure for me, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Isabelle. Thank you, listeners. I'm your host, Katrina Birus, and I'm delighted that the MKB Leadership Show, if it in any way has put you one step closer to excelling your leadership. This show has been done in conjunction with Dukascopy TV. Stay tuned for future episodes. Thank you.